You drive around town, you can see all the streets are crack sealed. In order to minimize the cracks just as much as at all possible, and as far as phase 2 goes, I haven't seen a crack yet in any of the streets that Quality did. Mm-hmm. And it was done by the same specs, the same design, same everything as phase 1, just a different contractor and a different time of year. Now Reynolds is saying that they think that the hot summer and the drying out of the material below the flex base that was put down has cracked, and that reflected all the way through the flex base and through the asphalt. And some of the cracks up on Remington Court were, Tony with, by the way, we recommended and the city agreed to get a geotech firm involved in these projects. And I guess it's the first time that I'm aware of that the city has gone that route when you do some street projects. I mean, soil borings were taken all over town. The geotech report was prepared for the recommendations of the subgrade, the pavement and so forth. And we have copies of that for phase 1 and phase 2. So after the Remington, there's probably the worst cracks that I've observed are in Remington and back over in Thornridge. There's some other cracks around town operating in phase 1, but the ones that have really opened up wide enough, like you say, that might be on the verge of warranting doing something besides just sealing the cracks, or in Remington and in Thornridge. Some of the cracks in Remington went down 22 to 24 inches when you measure down. So I mean that's talking about some drying out and shrinking. Now those cracks were sealed, and we're out there 2 days ago, and now that the wet weather's come, the material is swelling again. It's shrinking and swelling. It's swelling, and like Troy said, it's forced some of that material up, maybe an inch, just a ridge of it all the way down where the crack was. Now it's just a hump where that material's just been squeezed back out of the crack. So,
well, let me give you my little 1-minute speech here. We waited a long time to do this road project. Interest rates favorable, all that sort of thing. And obviously it needed done. And that's why we hired Geotech, because we really wanted it done right. This is our one and only shot at this thing for the next however many years, probably 5, 10, 15. So we're trying to wring as much life out of these roads as possible. So, we go to all the trouble of adding another layer by getting the geotech in here to do all of this stuff. And here we are with a train wreck, in my humble opinion. I mean, it's like, okay, Quality's work seems to be okay. I wondered if there was a Reynolds representative here, because we did ask for Reynolds to be here. So anyway, the problem is we've got cracks all over the place that evidently Reynolds doesn't want to take responsibility from Troy's numerous emails to them. They're not just coming out and crack sealing this sucker. They're fixing it. And I think all of us are very bummed out because, there's some in town who like to take little pot shots at us. I think most people are happy we're doing the road project. But I want this thing to be, I want our roads to be the best that money can buy, basically. And if there's issues here, then they need to be addressed and not just have to buck passed around. Somebody made a mistake. Either engineering, geotech, whoever laid Reynolds laying the asphalt, somebody screwed up someplace, and we need to find fixes for this, and people need to take responsibility and get this thing done properly. I understand punch lists and all that other kind of stuff. A lot of times they need to be done before we go back and remedy some of the issues, but there's some real obvious stuff going on here, like with regards to the cracks. They should have their butts out here now fixing that, those for Remington and Thornridge, not going back with crack seal. So that's my speech.
Real quick, a question for Matt, your Lyle. To pay retainage on this project, who signs it off and when is it paid? I understand upon completion, but who makes that determination?
Well, I think I think when we make a determination that the project has been completed to our satisfaction per the contract, which is kind of a collective call between Public Works and the engineer and us, that the project's completed our satisfaction, then we would pay the retainage. And until that happens, that's what the retainage is for, is hopefully that's enough to, you know, if push comes to shove, we keep the money and we complete those issues that are left uncompleted.
Prior to the retainage being paid on both of these phases, phase 1 and 2, is there a way to get council approval before retainage is paid?
That's a bad question, I don't know.
That's possible. It might require you to call a special meeting depending on the timing of it, but that's possible.
I just don't want this signed off and yeah, it's good and everyone goes on their way.
Well, I think with these outstanding issues and what's been said, I think basically that we need to get a hold of Reynolds and get the big dog, so to speak, and talk to them and say, you know, these are going to have to be fixed regardless, and then we'll see where we go from there. If they come out and fix them, that's all well and good. If not, then we may have to argue about it, which definitely gets you guys involved.
Did they say they couldn't be here today?
I don't know.
I
I
thought that
didn't
was
ask.
the purpose of this meeting.
Yeah, we wanted all the players here because.
Did anybody ask for Reynolds specifically
Yes.
here?
Well, I have a question. Eddie, how did we, then when it's all said and done, do we go out and take more samples and determine whether the pavement's good and substrate's good and all the rest of it?
I think that would be the next step, personally, to do some testing of materials and see if, there seems to be some obvious difference in Quality's work and Reynolds' work. I mean,
A big difference.
I-
And you know,
I
they can
see
say all they want about the weather.
uh,
Quality was out there, I mean, we had a horrible
Well,
summer.
there's
They were
some,
all the same.
Reynolds did some, Quality did some overlaying, Quality did some complete reconstruction,